Hey guys, Neomis here. Now for today's video, the Man City versus Arsenal game. Arsenal 0, Man City 3. Big talking points of the game. Let's talk again. Another good consistent performance by Saka and Martinelli. Bernd Leno again showing his consistency. Where the hell was Mesut Ozil and him kicking a bottle? My views on that as well. And what is it that Arsenal need to do going forward to turn things around, as well as other things? Now, stay tuned to my thoughts and my views, and if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, comment, and like the video if you like. Now, let's get started. So, Arsenal 0, Man City 3. Are we really surprised about what we just saw today or this evening? Probably not, depending on what perspective you look at it. Now, normally for these reviews, we're not playing like a Man City. Normally, I would come out and, talk about the bad and talk about the very little positives. But I'm going to do something a little different. I want to focus on the positives first. Because even though I'm looking at the result, and especially this season, you guys know that I try to look at the positives, particularly when we lose games, especially when you factor in where we are in terms of this post-Wenger era. Right now, we are in a situation whereby we need heavy investment into our squad. This is why when you look at what the team today, the overall team, not just the starting 11, but the players that we have on the bench, you're seeing there that there just isn't enough. And yes, injuries factor into everything. There isn't enough talent in the squad. The squad is missing key components, defensive components, not just in the back line, but in the midfield. And it is today that we really found out how far away we are from Man City, how far we are away from competing against top honours. The fact that they also had injuries on their side as well, not just up front, but in defence and in midfield as well. And they're having to change things around. And we basically went up against our B team versus their B team as well. We got punished, and maybe it's a bit hard to say B team, but because both sets of sides had a combination with their starting regulars and players that maybe necessarily wouldn't play. For Man City, they had the likes of Foden, who got an assist today. The likes Mendy, who doesn't play a lot, he played as well. But then they had regulars like Kevin De Bruyne, who was absolutely fantastic today. I mean, if you're a football fan, you just love the way how he plays. You just have to give the props up to him on this one. So well done for Kevin De Bruyne. Scored a brace in today's game. But all of this was at the detriment of Arsenal. And there were good points with Arsenal today. Again, like I said at the start of this video, Bukayo Saka. This is a player who's come in from our academy from last season. Yes, he had honours with, I believe it was the England under 18s. But for him to come in and perform like how he has done, and you know what, for the most part, he's been okay. But to keep on performing the consistent level like how he's been doing, I have to give him his props. He comes in today off the bench to play at left wing back. He's not a left wing back at all. He's not a left wing back. This guy is a left winger. He drives forward, tries to score goals. He went there with a positive attitude when Kolasinac got injured and had to come off, and he did a decent job. He was able to hold down the City threat, which I do have to say, I do give him big props up for that. Again, he's not a defender. He could have done what, you know, I've seen Maitland-Niles do and say, you know what, I'm not a defender, like, this isn't good. But he came there with the right attitude and, you know, showed the positive signs. I like what he does. I really do. Really like what he does. So that's my first major positive of this game. Second, Gabriel Martinelli and the link that he has with Saka. I thought them two on the left-hand side was really, really good. Lots of good combination plays there with how they all played. I really like what he's doing. Again, he provides a consistent performance where he's showing his energy, he's showing his drive, showing his determination to try to score goals, try to create chances for the Arsenal. And again, he was very close, very, very early on in the game. As a matter of fact, just before the City chance. So I really commend Gabriel Martinelli for what he's doing, and I hope he didn't get banged up too much in this game. He had some really kind of nasty fouls in the game, but overall, I thought he played really, really well. So big props up to Gabriel Martinelli and what he did in this game. Even though he didn't get a goal or anything like that, his work rate, determination, always drive to want to press. Gotta love it. And probably to the third and final positive of this game, I'm going to go with Bernd Leno. The unsung hero of this season, the player that no one talks about because he's a goalkeeper, because we've been playing badly. But Bernd Leno has been a consistent performer for Arsenal. He's played really, really well this season. To be really fair, hasn't done much wrong, to be honest. I can't remember a game where I'm like, you know what, Bernd Leno, he was absolutely terrible in that game. I don't think that there is one. He's played well, done a job, and I commend him for that. And today, he was one of the key reasons, or the key reason why this game wasn't 5-6-0. So big props up to our Bernd Leno. Like, if you're watching this, like, you have to understand, if it wasn't for Bernd Leno in this game, again, this would have been far, far worse. Far worse. So I like the positives that Arsenal have, and those three are probably the only positives out of the game. And to be honest, it's a negative to actually say that, because I thought that there were some things that in this game I just did not like. One of them, again, and I've said it time and time again, is the Arsenal defense. And I'm not going to go too much on it because it's been a consistent thing this season where I'm like, my God, it doesn't matter who we have in our defense, we still are not defending well enough. For City's second goal, where it was a De Bruyne assist, Raheem Sterling scores the goal. We have three players around De Bruyne as he enters the box, as he's in the box. No one manages to stop that pass from coming through. Now, you could say that that is the result of such a good pass, but not when you have three players around them. And because you had three players around them, which were three defenders, by the way, it meant that you then had a hole in the defense, which allowed Raheem Sterling to score that goal. That meant that Kolasinac wasn't sure if he should stick or twist, whether he should stay in the middle or whether he should go more on his left towards Raheem Sterling. Sterling scores the goals nevertheless. And both goals that Man City scored, their first two goals, were exactly the same way. Just bad defended. Really, 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 really bad defended. The third goal, absolutely like brilliant goal. And the first goal. But for me, these shots could have been prevented. They could have been prevented. And the defense is part to do with that. Second of all, the midfield. What is going on with our midfield? Now, I knew, you know, Arsenal fans who've been around and have watched Arsenal over the past, let's say, the bare minimum 10-15 years, have been talking about we need a player with strength, speed, aerial ability, and someone that can hold the ball up in midfield. And we need a couple of players like those, minimum. We are seeing why these players are needed in this Arsenal side, because we don't have them. You have a situation where Lucas Torreira has been completely overrun. There is nothing he can do. He looks useless in midfield. Yes, he's able to get tackles in every now and again, but he cannot do it by himself. It's to the point where I feel sorry for the guy. Guendouzi is getting, all of Guendouzi's weaknesses are being shown every single game. We are not, like, our recruitment team over the summer was god awful. It did not take into account on what was needed in terms of tactics and how the manager wanted to play. We now know what the players Unai Emery wanted. And we've seen the names, the likes of Thomas Partey. You could see why he wanted him now. You could see why he wanted Fabinho when he first came in. You could see why he wanted Zaha in the summer as well. You can see why now. Because as much as people want to say Unai was a shit manager, I'm sorry, but the things that we're seeing now that maybe wasn't presented as clear back then is now crystal clear now. And we are seeing big deficiencies with our squad. And it's not just an injury thing. We've got a midfield that needs surgery, like a major surgery, almost as much as a defense, I would say. Almost as much as a defense. It's bad. It's really, really bad. And then third and finally, for this video, Mesut Ozil. Who the hell do you think you are? Mesut Ozil wasn't even the best Arsenal player on the pitch today. He is then substituted by the interim manager or coach or whatever you wanted to call Freddie Ljungberg. And then he decides he is going to kick a ball because he's upset about being substituted. Mate, you were crap today. Like, what did you do? The amount of times I saw you didn't track back at all. Mesut Ozil's performance, abject again. Again, it's one of those where even Carragher on the commentary was like, Mesut Ozil, great player, but what we want to see is in the big games, he does not show up, he goes missing, and he went missing again. See Kevin De Bruyne? Big game player. Showed up. Scored the goal, got a brace. Did you know that this was Kevin De Bruyne's first brace in his career? Mesut Ozil, where were you? Where were you? And then you've got the cheek to go out and kick a ball when the coach, who's trying to help the team to win. The disrespect again that these players are showing, I don't like it. I do not like it. Like, our club, it's showing signs of how Manchester United were 5-6 years ago. I do not like what I see. This is really bad. And I know players were on the bench who were a bit pissed off about being on the bench, the likes of Lacazette and David Luiz, and I know they wanted to play, but we need to think about the balance of the team. It just doesn't work. Freddie said even after the game as well that we already knew that Lacazette and Aubameyang, it ruins our defensive solidity. One of two things has to happen. Either you play Ozil or you play Lacazette, because you can't play both. Cannot play both. Like, it just doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. So that's a bit of my Mesut Ozil rant. Like, I'm tired of this guy. Complain all day about Emery. Emery's gone. and you still perform like that on the pitch, and then you have the cheek to go and do it to another manager as well, I would love to hear some of the things that he's done to Wenger. I really would. But you know what, guys? Thank you for watching the video. I know it was a bit of a sour end with my comments towards Mesut Ozil, but it has to be said, because Mesut Ozil just not good enough. I'm ready for him to go. The club are not going to renew his contract. So if you're a Mesut Ozil fanboy and you're watching this, like, the club are not going to renew his contract. It's just not going to happen. They're not even going to offer him one because of the amount of wages that he's on. Unfortunately, it has been a mistake to give him Mesut Ozil that big contract. Mesut Ozil now is just a name. But leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought of the game. What do you think of the positives? Martinelli, Saka, Bernd Leno. Those are my big three. Just because of how the whole game went. Maybe you could say a fourth was that it wasn't a blowout. It wasn't a 5-6 niller or a 9-0. That could be seen as a positive. But I'll stick with that 3. Leave your comments below on what you think your positives were. Like this video, comment, and if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, which should be somewhere around here. Now, I will see you guys there next time for another video, and hopefully it'll be a lot more positive one than this one. Peace.